Firstly, Tim, thank you very much for giving me opportunity to interview you.
Absolutely.
So I've gone through a profile. I came to know that you're a global enterprise architect.
Yes, yeah, working for Dell Technologies in their global transformation office.
So before talking about you and your work, can you please introduce yourself to my audience?
Yeah, certainly. So my name's Tim Jones. I work for Dell Technologies. I'm a global enterprise architect in the transformation office within Dell. That area of the business is specifically around helping large corporate businesses, the largest 400 customers of Dell, in migrating to new digital uh, infrastructure and application backgrounds. And also, the other side of what I do is I part-time. I also teach university, so master's students in IT, cloud security, and virtualization technologies.
So you are into cloud from?
Yes, yeah. So cloud is both something that is ubiquitous everywhere that we're dealing with in IT now. So everything that we do has some touch on cloud. So importantly, because of the way that the market is moving towards cloud, because a lot of businesses no longer want to own data centers. But the much more interesting side of that is the different ways of managing applications, infrastructure, and the people that are involved in that. So moving towards technologies such as DevOps, DevSecOps, and those sort of capabilities and the infrastructure and applications to support it.
So I forgot to ask, where are you from?
So I'm from Melbourne, Australia.
Awesome. So I can see you are into cloud from long time. You worked in different positions in different companies.
Yes. Yeah. So my role that I had before my current one was working with Virtustream, which is the cloud service provider portion of Dell Technologies. So that business was provide still is providing the the capability to put large scale application systems that were never built for cloud technologies into the cloud, like systems like SAP, systems of record, banking systems, that sort of thing. So the a lot of the hyperscalers have now caught up to the capability for hosting those type of systems, but Virtustream was one of the early ones for dealing with that side of technology. As well as that, I've also worked in the banking space, so not only in the vendor world, but working in banking and finance in the cloud space and some other businesses as well.
So how you are managing both? You are teaching about cloud to the master level students, and you are able to do the cloud work in Dell Technologies.
Yeah, so it's interesting. So the part of the advantage of being a senior technology person means that you've often got plenty to do, but you're dealing with people around the world, but your time is quite flexible. So I can manage my own time and meetings and setting up time with people as I need, and it's very much an outcome based work that we need to work with clients. We have things that we need to do to get transformations or plans or strategy in place to operate, but we don't it isn't a regular 9 to 5 job. But what that also allows me to have is some flexibility. So on the side, I'm able to run I generally run one course a semester, so I'm not by any means a full-time university lecturer, but it permits me to do that. And I find the education side of that quite rewarding. So working with students that are either in a similar position to me or looking at as a way to move up the rungs in the IT world, or just for doing something else or for interest, but working with a bunch of people that are passionate about learning, because it's something that for me has been super important part of my career. Like, I've been in IT now for like a little bit over 30 years, and the and been more or less on the technical side of the fence all of that time. And you can't do that without having a passion for learning and wanting to continue to learn. That if you got fed up with continually learning, you'd have to find a completely different career or move into a different path in IT.
So you have 30 plus years, but you look so young.
Thank you very much, Si. That's very nice of you to say. I think it's probably the Skype's giving an AI filter for me to make me look young.
So that's a good idea. You are educating students and you are trying to learn from students, and you are doing your work, your full-time work, meeting clients, creating something that is required for them, trying to match their expectations, trying to give what they want. So you are doing three different jobs. One is communicating with machine. Another one is communicating with clients, where you have to know what their requirements are, how they are able to, how what they want to shift their physical infrastructure to the virtual world. And the another one is uh, teaching, telling
Yes.
something that you know already. So how three different jobs you are able to manage?
Well, it's all about um, being aware of what your capabilities are, being very clear in your communication with people around what their expectations of you as well are. But the key thing, so over my main job over the years has been working in either architecture, consulting, or some form of vendor-based roles. And those particular roles, those across all three areas, the key areas that you need to have to work with those is an understanding of the technology. Like, that's kind of a given for people working in technical fields, but you also need to have an ability to influence. And so that's where working in a partially in a sales organization, or if you're working internally as an architect within a corporate environment or something like that, being able to talk to people, influence, and make them comfortable with what it is that you're technically put it forward, dealing with the human to human side, is incredibly important as well. And so that helps tie together being able to work in multiple different areas at once as well, because it's the human to human interaction which makes all of that possible. So yeah, for anyone working in the space, it's an incredibly important skill.
So what are the challenges that you faced in this 30 years in IT?
Well, as I mentioned before, one of the first things is dealing with learning over all of that time. For me, a large part of staying on top of that and being able to benchmark myself and understand and having goals that I move towards is by utilizing certification. So I'm a big proponent of certification to help people learn, goal set, but also it helps propel careers as well. So it's something that I really believe in, that can help people show to future employers or their current employer that they're interested in learning, that they know the topic at hand, and that they're capable of doing it ongoing. So it's something that I've done continuously. Like, I got my first certification in 1995, and from there I've continued to work on that over time. The other side is just making sure that you learn the right things, of being aware of what the next thing is that's coming, because it's no good learning going deep into COBOL programming or something like that, that there might be work in for a little bit of time, and that they say that they'll always be working COBOL programming because it's all in banking. But as an example, there's you need to have a view to what the corporations that you're working for are looking for, and what the marketplace and the interest and where things are moving. And right now that's heavily into automation. And so cloud I see as more of a symptom of that move to automation rather than the core part of the reason why people are making a large part of the move.
So you worked in banking sector. What is your now you're working in cloud, and now also you're teaching students. So what is your educational background? Do you have tech background?
Yeah, so when I first of all went to university and I was in a robotics course, but at that age, when I was very young, I really struggled getting out of bed. the, the it was more so I could get up for a job, but dealing with study at that age, like I think for a lot of people, their brain doesn't really kick into things until later in life. And so I ended up leaving and getting into IT without a degree, without any formal training in the space, but managing to talk myself into an IT based role and then build a career from there. It was only later that I went on to study further. I tried a number of times to do things like degrees part time or study and that sort of thing. I didn't complete a couple of those things as well, but eventually I got my tertiary education complete. I did a master's degree myself, and as well as that, I did all of the certification side. So the key is you'll have some, you'll trip up somewhere along the way. You'll have some problems as you move along, but it's not the end of the road if you have a problem or you don't succeed something along the way, that you can keep on trying and keep on going at it, and eventually you can hit the goals and where you want to get to eventually.
So how's your experience with students?
With sprints,
Your experience with students.
our students, yeah, well, I really enjoy time with students because it's a a very different dynamic to dealing with people on a day-to-day basis, and especially over the last 18 months it's been good to have some further interactions, because you spend a lot of time in four walls, working from home, working from videos and that sort of thing, but helping people deal with their own understandings of working through programs and uh, working through understanding the technology, but something that gives some real personal satisfaction of being able to feel like you're helping uh, share some of your own expertise and knowledge to people that appreciate it, that want it, that are keen to learn. And so it's really good dealing with students, especially dealing with master's level students, because they're all there off their own bat. They're all there because they specifically have chosen to do it. They're already in the industry somewhere, most likely, and they're not just there because they don't know what else to do. Right? So some in like when I was an undergraduate student for the first time, I wouldn't have enjoyed myself as a student at that point. But the people who come through as master's students are really good across the board.
So you have industrial knowledge, and you're teaching to the students who don't know what happens in the market. So uh, how you are able to tell them what exactly works in the industry, and how good they are in understanding and grabbing information, the real world experience from you.
Yeah, so that's interesting, because that's one of the things from the last semester. So last semester I was teaching cloud computing course. And so teaching the ideas behind what cloud computing is, but also using AWS teaching as part of it. So we use the AWS training and education platform to provide the technical components of that course. And so we had some students that had dealt with cloud technologies before that were working in the space, but also a bunch of people that hadn't dealt with any of that before, that it was completely new for them to deal with. And so what we saw as part of that was that students appreciated being able to relay how the technologies actually get used by businesses, or the experiences that I'd seen of implementing those technologies into large enterprise environments and things. Because it's one thing to have case studies or to play around with the technology and link it together, but explaining how the technologies are actually consumed and what things look like in the real world is something that a lot of students really appreciated, because they're able to then align that view of what they're learning from a technology perspective to what the business requirement is, or how it's consumed within an organization, or how a team is structured to deliver the features into the environment. Because the course that I had was structured around creating architecture and design artifacts for people who have never worked in the field before. So not only teaching them the technical side, but also some of those business components and how that aligns to delivering a technical project from a design and architecture side.
Do you have any particular experience that you cannot forget as a global enterprise architect?
Sorry, in what way?
It can be marketing wise, or it can be trying to know the requirements of the projects, or
Mm.
trying to
Well,
implement what you collected.
yeah. So one of the key things. So my area of the organization utilizes a lot of the components of TOGAF to deal with our architectural framework of how we go to market and try to build architectures for our clients. So that is very much built around um, understanding first and foremost what the business drivers are, what the business problem that we're trying to solve with technology. Because one of the problems, especially of technologists going in and trying to work with organizations, is they're often there because they're experts in one particular technology, and so there's, oh, I can see how this technology fits into your business, and the business is like, well, you're telling me that there's this problem, but my problem's like like this big. And the the key for an enterprise architecture view for dealing with customer problems as a vendor is to understand the broad suite of what we offer from a corporation point of view. So all of the things that we have that we can sell clients, from consulting to service, storage, etc. The strategically aligned businesses within Dell Technologies. So that's the cloud side, or security, and these other components that were in there, as well as VMware up until recently. But also working with a whole bunch of partners or new businesses, because if the business has a problem that requires something that we've never dealt with before, but we work closely with them, we've got a good relationship, we can work with other partners, with other businesses to help bring that together. So that's, first of all, looking at the business problem, collecting requirements, understanding them, of going through and doing things like working through architectural decisions of why it is that we've put together a selection of components to build out the application space, the data space, and then the technology stack that sits underneath that.
So how this interacting with your clients and communicating with different people who are into different professions, who can be there will be technical or non-technical people. So how this knowledge helped you in your designing and doing architecture, which is completely technical? How this knowledge helped you?
Yeah, so uh, again, coming back to one of the key things is being able to uh, talk and communicate with people, and so not only talk to people on a person-to-person basis, but being able to communicate ideas, concepts, especially to people who are not necessarily incredibly technical, because some of the times we're working with people from the business side of an organization and not the technical side of the organization. Traditionally, vendors would sell into the IT business, where you would the term is speeds and feeds, right? So you would sell a particular component, whether it was storage or servers or something like that, based upon how fast it was, what it could do, and everyone would understand all of the terminology that you were talking about. All right. So, but business over the last few years has very much changed. So the precepts of the way that a lot of businesses look at technology is they look at software as a service as a first port of call. It's the way that they would prefer to buy their applications, capabilities, etc., because they don't need to deal with IT or managing any systems or anything like that. They can consume applications as is. And so something like Salesforce is a perfect example of this type of thing that the business moved towards. But other components where applications need to be built in-house, or there needs to be integration between something like Salesforce and a billing system that's been long-term within an organization, is where you need to have integration. You need to be able to understand the technologies from across the board, not at a deep level, but you need to know. I know a lot of things that like this deep. Um, but you need to know a wide breadth of things to understand how they will connect together. But you need to be able to communicate that back to the business clients as well as the technical staff. And so understanding who your audience is. So you wouldn't use the same documentation artifacts to communicate something to your business sponsor at the executive level as you would to the engineering staff in the IT organization. So it's part of the same architectural design that you're putting forwards, but you would need different ways of communicating what's getting delivered between who you're actually talking to at the time. And so having an understanding of what those people require from you to allow them to do their job as part of delivering technology is really important.
So how will be your thinking process in order to make things done? You're
Mm.
doing multiple works and you're handling your managing your own energy, physical, mental energy. So how you are able to do things perfectly?
Yeah, no one does things perfectly, and yeah, so if you're doing things perfectly, you're spending far too much time on it, or you should look at doing something different because you know that job really well. Like it's at least for me, like I need to do things that I don't know how to do perfectly because I want to be learning as I go. If I'm not learning, I'm not enjoying the role. And but to answer your question in particular, the key is around just understanding again the requirements. I work probably from an outside view. I'm a little bit chaotic, but inside my own head, everything's very procedural. Like I can see one thing follows another thing, follows another thing. So I've got a very systems way of looking at an overall package of work or an organization or how things tie together. So uh, for me, a lot of the work around what's put together is sort of uh, done within my head, and then it's a matter of getting it out into documentation or discussions, and then working with others to refine it. Because a lot of the time, I'll come up with thoughts around how something should go forwards, and I'll communicate that information, and then I'll get feedback either from within my organization or from within a client organization or a partner that there's problems or issues or a better way of doing something. And it's really important not only to be able to create something, to be willing to put it forwards and present it, but to be really open to feedback, that everyone's keen to get the best results out of something. And if people can see how what you've put forward can be improved or where there's problems, to not be precious or concerned from your own perspective that that people are uh, targeting you with negative comments. It's looking at the solution, and we all want to get to the best solution. So it's always an iterative process. There's never a perfect solution which comes out fully formed. It's always something that needs to evolve over time, unless it's something super simple. But if it's super simple, then it's not something that I deal with.
So, what are the common questions that your student ask you about architecture or about the industry?
Yeah, so often from a student's perspective, the most common questions are first of all around the applicability of technology that we're talking about at the time. So when I do I do all of my teaching over the web. So that was even before lockdowns and that sort of thing. So I was always using Zoom to teach students. And the so what the way that would operate, I would have working exactly the way that we are at the moment, but instead of one-to-one, it would be me talking, and there'd be 20 or 50 or 60 students or something like that that would be part of the lecture online. And so then we would have a chat box. And so while I would work through the learnings and teachings for the session, people would pop up questions. And as we would move through, I'd answer people's questions. Most often that was around, again, what we're looking at from the applicability of the technology or how something works in particular areas. So especially for the technical courses that I've taught, that is where people are really interested in the real nuts and bolts around how things operate, because it's a lot of the people coming into a technical based masters, they tend to really enjoy the technical side of doing those sort of things and understanding that. So there's fairly good engagement there. The other side is most often around looking at the assessment piece. So again, as I was mentioning before, the assessments that we work on are the major components around a couple of the subjects that I'm teaching at the moment are around providing architectures or design documents, right? And so the requirements for that are reasonably well set out, but a lot of the students don't understand because they've never worked in the space what a architecture document or design document and that sort of thing looks like. And so so one of the common things that we get, and that I'm trying to help students with creating some samples for and talking them through last semester, was what these things do, but also coming back to the perspective of you're creating a document that is for a particular set of consumers. So who are your consumers of your document that you're actually writing it for? So putting yourself in the shoes of where you're actually writing these for is the sort of advice that I give them. In the case of a architecture document, which is part of a sales pitch to a client, right? Basically, this is one of the assignments that we had last semester. It was an executive consumer of the document, so that you don't want to go into the very deep detail in that type of document. You want to paint a picture of what things look like, what the timescales will be, how much things will cost at a high level, and give an executive summary and that sort of thing. The other type of document that we then created as the final assessment for the semester was a detailed design. And for that, the consumers of the document were cloud engineers. So you needed to have everything in the document that was required for the cloud engineers to do their job. And so two very different views, but you need to make sure that the people who are consuming the documents can do their job off the back of them.
So what is different? What is the difference between learning in a university and learning in a company in a particular position? What is the difference between these two learnings?
Sure. So university learning is a formalization of the process. So and it's you've got a large part of the university learning is the accreditation that you get out of it. And so there's an acceptance around the world that a that a bachelor's degree is a certain level of effort that goes into it, and a certain amount of time that is expected to be spent on carrying it out. That a master's degree is a certain amount of effort and time, and same with the an associate degree or a PhD, that sort of thing. So there's an understanding across the world of what a particular type of degree means as far as effort that goes into it, and then that you're expected, once you've completed, for example, a master's degree, that you have some expertise in the area that you're talking about. You haven't just done a general degree, you've actually specialized in a particular area, and you've learned a broad set of information that helps support that. All right. So learning in a university means that you've got some assistance from the university to get you there, but at the end they're providing accreditation that you've met the requirements for that. Now, learning within a business is uh, very different, because you're learning what the business requires for the particular function that you're doing. So if you're working as a cloud engineer, but your job every single day is to migrate virtual machines from on-premise to the cloud, and there's not really a lot of stuff that goes into it, but you're clicking buttons along the way, you can learn that job probably, in a day. You don't necessarily need to have a lot of understanding of the technology that sits underneath there. You could carry it. If something goes wrong, it's you'll need someone that knows a hell of a lot more to work things out. But to carry out that particular job function, if the workplace is teaching you, they could teach someone to do it in a reasonably straightforward manner. Now, most workplaces don't want just a monkey, though, to click the buttons along the way. And so the workplaces are very keen to, first of all, get people that are more highly skilled, that understand things in a better manner. And they're also keen to propel people's understanding and knowledge as well. So we see across the board organizations are happy to both hire people that have accreditation from universities, is a normal thing to do that helps with the hiring process, but also the certification side of things. So hiring people that are certified, for example, for the role that we're talking about of doing VM migrations to the cloud, that we would get someone that's got DevOps certification, or a AWS architecture certification, or something like that that matches broadly into the area, or we would look at training up people to do those sort of things. Now, one of the things that I see in a lot of organizations is the business is very keen to see people increase their skills, but even when the business is willing to pay for those things, unfortunately, a lot of people aren't keen to take it on board. So I see it for a lot of individuals, it's a missed opportunity not to take the business up on the additional training that they're willing to put into their staff, because not only does it make you a better employee and an opportunity to work on more interesting projects in wherever work it is, but it makes you more valuable again in the marketplace, right? So it allows you to, potentially get more money um, elsewhere in the world if you keep training, if you keep learning. um, it it makes you attractive to other employers.
So, what are your skills? What skills you have that helped you in work in different environment with different clients in different positions and thinking in different ways and trying to put yourself conscious and be very particular about things.
Yeah. So again, um, the key side for me again has been the ability to talk to people, to influence, to uh, bring across technical or complex ideas to people that aren't familiar with a field, and get them to understand broadly what it is that I'm talking about. So those interpersonal skills are really important, especially when you move into like a architecture type sphere where you're talking with people that aren't in the technical space. That it's super important, the interpersonal skills. But the other side of it is again, as I was touching on before, the ability and interest in continuing to learn, of being interested in learning, in being curious around the type of things that are in the workplace that I'm operating on. So that, from a skill perspective, they're sort of like the two bedrock skills that they support everything else. Because the other things, like my first certification that I got was in Windows 95. Right, so that's it doesn't have that's a skill that I kind of, like, I could list as still being a skill, but it's not something that anyone cares about. So no one's interested in that capability or knowledge or anything like that. But the fact that at the time I got that has some interest, because I went through and I did some learning. But over my whole career, I've continued to uh, be certified to learn, understand different technologies as they come up. So there's a bunch of technologies that are completely defunct now that I'm certified in, and so it's one of those things. So you have some very core skills which are important, that allow you to get sort of transitional skills or temporary skills that you need for doing what you're doing on a day-to-day basis.
So, technical skills and communication skills, how this helps in IT industry in order to reach the expectations of the clients and increase the production and increase the market and reach. Because you said you have 400 clients. Are they from different countries?
Yeah, so I don't personally have 400 clients. So my business unit does. So I've got like four clients uh, across Asia. So primarily in Australia and Singapore that I'm working with at the moment. All right. So, but the core skills from a interpersonal standpoint, especially working in a vendor-based role, because I need to explain technologies and come across as an expert with strong understanding to people that will be making choices about whether they want to put a lot of money down with the business. So the types of projects that I work on with clients that we're talking about could be 5 million, 10 million, 50 million, 100 million type projects. And so it's a big investment, and they need to be comfortable that the people that are working on it understand what they're talking about, that you can not only be understood, but it's also important to uh, in some ways be affable, to be someone that people like being around. Because if you're technically great, but you if someone's going to be working with you on a project for 2 years and they think that you're pretty annoying, then they're not. It's really going to not be in your favor. So so being easy to work with and is important from that side. So not only on the vendor side, but working inside an organization as well, right? So there, when you're working with a wide range of people, then it's much easier to work with someone that's easy to get along with, that says hello and that sort of thing. But yeah, from working with those clients, again, it also comes down to pulling it back to what those businesses really require from a day-to-day basis. So I'm working heavily at the moment in the telecommunications space, and there's a really big shift to the technology focus that's coming through for telcos at the moment. So they're moving away from vertically integrated radio network infrastructure to disaggregated network infrastructure, so that you can have multiple different components from different providers. And that's something that's kind of a reality now, but the real capability for that will be coming through in the next 5 years or so. That's based off some of the work that's been done around the 5G technology capability.
What are the key factors that helps the employee to give the quality service uh, to the clients?
So key thing for me is the regular and appropriate communication. Right. So if you're going to give good service, there will always be problems. There will always be failures and things that don't work perfectly. And good service isn't about delivering something when it's working. Good service is about what happens when there's problems, right? So whether that's an issue with contracts that aren't agreed with, or if there's a technical failure in a particular component, or if a roadmap item that was promised to be on time has slipped and is no longer available when the customer expected it to. So yeah, the key is not in handing over something that the customer asked for that works perfectly, but when you're dealing with those problems of what you do. And the key is, for me, is that when you know that there's a problem and that it's a problem that's going to impact the client, the earlier you can tell them, the better. Make them aware that there's even a potential problem coming down the road towards them. That because if they won't be happy. No one likes hearing bad news, right? So it's not about telling people that they want to hear, but if you wait until a massive problem is fully realized and the customer is completely blindsided, that is a surefire way to lose trust and completely break the relationship that your organization has with whoever the client is. And that's not only for vendor to client based relationships, but also internal stakeholders, right? So making sure that, because the sales precepts and the ideas of customer engagement are as important dealing with customer stakeholders and internal stakeholders and internal customers as they are in dealing with when you're actually selling things to clients. So that ability to be aware of what's coming and let people know when there's a problem, because people will always much appreciate to know that there's an issue early rather than late.
So 30 plus years of IT industry experience. How this industry experience helped you to be a great human?
So it's funny because it's one of those things. So I'm an IT professional, but I don't define myself by my work. My work's super important to me. Like it's it's something that I get a lot of personal satisfaction out of. It certainly pays all my bills, and I've had financial rewards over my career. But it's it's not a core of who I am. Right. So so of being a good human is something that um, I try to work towards, and the that side of things is I work with some charity organizations. I do some volunteering, um, and that side of things is more outside of the workplace than in the workplace. From a workplace perspective, it's partly around where I choose to put my labor. So there's some industries, particularly things like gambling, which I think are personally morally wrong, and so I think that they're not a net good to society, and so I would choose not to work and give my labor to one of those organizations, um, because I don't think that they're good for society in what they do. They cause more harm than they do good. So it's yeah, from a day-to-day perspective, it's um, my work is not is not curing cancer or anything like that, but like trying to be a small cog in the machine of trying to make things slightly better as I move on.
So you are teaching cloud technology to the master level students. So what are the common mistakes that they do? Most of the students that they don't put in their mind when it comes to cloud technology.
Yeah. So the biggest thing that students don't do is read the assessment rubric. So we set out for for the way that assessments work in uh, university subjects. We have assignments that students need to do, and we mark out the different areas that things are getting marked upon. And it's something that I advise students every single semester. And I can guarantee that there's probably 20% of them at somewhere through the assessments will completely miss one complete section of an assessment or something like that. Because I keep on telling them, make sure that you check it off with the rubric afterwards of the assessment metrics of how you're getting marked for the thing. Because if you don't have the section in there that you've been requested, you'll get 0 for that particular section. So that that's the area that I don't not exactly what you were looking for, but that firmly comes to mind as the very first thing of one of the things that students have consistently um, make a mistake on.
So what are you before coming into IT industry before 30 years? What are you now after 30 years?
Like I said before, I'm an IT professional, but I'm also a dad. I'm a partner. I'm a dog father. That he takes a lot of my time, and I'm a friend to people. I'm a part of my community. It's so I feel very fortunate that I fell into a career very early in my professional life that matched well with what my personal skills are. Right? So, like to fall into a role where when you like learning things and you're not bad at speaking to people, that those core skills again can really build a career and quite a successful sort of career that's had good financial and personal and learning rewards and all of those sort of things is really good. But yeah, the from what I am after 30 years is yeah, quite thankful of the opportunities that I was given and the chances that I got.
So you are seeing the change in IT gradually, year by year. What are the technologies coming on, and what are the requirements, and how things are getting better, advanced. So, what do you say about artificial intelligence? When it comes to cloud, how it is going to create impact on it?
Well, it's interesting because it's getting applied to more and more areas. In particular, um, machine learning as a subset of that is really coming of age now, of being able to utilize that in machine learning in day-to-day products. You can buy a myriad of different things. I've got a smart camera at my home that detects when humans are seen in my driveway and alerts me, and that sort of thing of creating ubiquitous technology based off advancements in the AI field is incredibly valuable. The other side of artificial intelligence, of having some actual thought within systems, it's a bit hard for me to see where that's going to go. Like it's something that I find incredibly interesting, but it's also one of those things that seems like it's probably like 10 years away or something like that before we've got proper thinking machines rather than smart processors. But what happens at that point is going to be anyone's guess, because it's one of the concerns that I have for society overall, and that some things become less and less fair and open to people over time from a personal and fairness and society sort of perspective. And future technologies like true AI and the ability to have automation in everything provide society with a great opportunity, like freeing people from the shackles of drudgery, of hard labor and things like that. But having seen how corporations work and how capitalism works and that sort of thing, the expectation is more of a the potential of more of a dystopia coming down rather than a utopia from future technology, as essentially people's work and livelihood gets automated away from them. Truck drivers, accountants, lawyers, doctors, all of these things. My job, all of these things are open for automation and the ability to have computer and cycles and artificial intelligence to do a lot of the components. But I think that when we have those things come through, we really need to have something in place to handle what we do as a society, because if we end up with 40% of people across the world with zero work that they can do because we've got robot taxis, robot trucks, a lot of the professional jobs are taken up and that sort of thing. It really requires thinking now. Otherwise, it could be a disaster.
So you are great in communicating with machine, and you are great in communicating with human. So you understand both, how they are communicating with you, how they are responding to you, because you worked uh, in understanding the market and clients and productivity, and knowing requirements of people from different professions, because your clients will be from different countries and different professions. So you know what how they are communicating, what exactly they need, and what exactly they want, and what you should do. So uh, and also you know what to do with the requirements, how to create things, how to generate things with the given requirements, and give the right product and the quality product to the uh, clients. So how these two knowledge, communication knowledge, communicating with machine, communicating with human. When it comes to AI, what do you say? To the AI experts, what they need to put in their mind in terms of security, what they have to put in the artificial intelligence machine in order to make it be in humans' control.
Yeah, so I mean, this is again a coming off what I was talking about before of seeing how uh, capitalism ends up moving towards dollars rather than betterment of people, and and so we see corporations like Facebook have and any major large company have issues with privacy, either in them harvesting information maliciously or accidental leaks. Like every few days, there's a major leak of millions of records of personal information that head out onto the internet, and so it's one of those things that really needs to be um, built in at the core for anything that's going to be handling sensitive information. So if you have an artificial intelligence that you're going to share information with, it needs to be carefully adjudicated how that's managed and how it's deployed and processed through the system. And that's where I think that uh, starting to see roles like computer ethicists, people who deal in morality and ethics within the computer field coming about, because that sort of thing is going to be more and more important. It's one of the new growth areas of understanding the ethics of that computer person divide and being able to assist in the shaping of how AIs should deal with these things, because as well as dealing with the privacy issues and regular security type concerns, there's also major issues around the information that is fed to the AIs and how they then deal with that. Because as an example, if you feed an artificial intelligence all of the arrest information for the city of Chicago, right, and you tell the artificial intelligence, go out and find me the people that are most likely to commit crime. And the artificial intelligence will go out and continually point to black people because they're over policed. And they're the people that get arrested all the time because they're the people that are targeted with crimes that aren't hit up by other people. And so this is not an AI problem. This is a ethics, a control, a programming, a management problem around the AI, because you end up with these results out of the technology which are not what the programmers or controllers expected or not what they wanted, but a computer will go away and do exactly what it is that it's told to do, right? So if it needs to find correlation or information somewhere, it'll correlate to a way to its heart's content, but it'll do so in a way that isn't human, right? Doesn't have an ethical or moral overlay, doesn't have a clear understanding of the world. And my hope is that some of these things can come into the frameworks much more clearly around how these things are developed.
So my last question is, what do you say to the as a global enterprise architect? What do you say to the beginner level and intermediate level and expert level architects? Your valuable advisors?
Yeah, I'd say that uh, be open for how you present your information. Be open for uh, advice around different things, because I certainly still take advice around the work that I put forwards, and am quite happy to change anything that comes up based upon better information or better ideas. So be open to that, but also keep learning. So it's one of the things. So as I said, 30 years in the industry, and I had to learn a lot at the start and keep on learning, but the pace of learning and the pace of change is just accelerating, right? And that's going to keep going in the future as well. And so keep a view to what it is that's coming along down the pipe. So the big sort of movement from an organizational perspective is data-centric workloads at the moment. So understanding the conjunction between data formats of how you store systems in cross-cloud environments, of how you manage the applications to work with those various things, dealing with AI and ML with data processing. So those are the sort of areas that I see really hitting their strides at the moment, and coming to life over the next couple of years. But it's still important to really understand the fundamentals as well. So as we go through everything, one of the most important things that I ever learned through my career is learning TCP/IP really deeply. All right, so understanding that, because that's, as a core skill and understanding, that is something that hasn't really changed that much in the last 25 years since I learned it quite well. And so understanding those basics of what's happening at the bit and byte level of a computer and what it's doing, because that can help you extrapolate the more abstract connections that we have with software-defined networks and virtual private clouds, and the way that we have virtual machines and EC2 and all of that sort of thing within these environments. We learning what's actually going to be happening, because at the end of the day, any cloud environment is just someone else's computers, right? So knowing what happens underneath and how it operates is I think important as well.
So, what is your driving force? What is motivating you? What is making you wake up in the morning and do a lot of things?
For me, it's that for one thing, this is uh, you know this is what I do. All right, so it's it's one of those. I've spent a lot of time becoming an expert in a particular area, and so there's some reward in being able to utilize skills and knowledge that you build up over time. So in some ways, that's a part of the reward in itself, that you you become an expert, and the ability to apply that expertise to an area is something that's attractive. But the other side of things, of um, speaking with businesses about the problems that they face, it's kind of like a puzzle, like a very big Sudoku, the of something that needs to be solved, and that there's multiple different ways to solve it, but putting something together that makes the most sense for all of the stakeholders is kind of attractive. I like puzzles. I like dealing with that sort of thing, but uh, it's an intellectual endeavor that helps people out. So it's something that's, yeah, for me, is kind of attractive and helps drive me.
So, at last, what is your observation about my questioning in this conversation?
So I enjoyed your I enjoyed your questioning. So your questioning was yep.
Now we are connected.
Yes. Yeah, sorry, it dropped out for a sec. Yeah. So sorry, did you want me to did you miss that last question?
Yeah, I didn't hear your answer.
Right, okay. No, so so I was just saying that that so your questions and this process has been really good. So I've enjoyed the way that you've delved in through a decent length conversation and picked up on various areas that I've spoken about and looping back to those. That's been good.
And what is your observation about my videos on YouTube? Have you seen any videos?
No, I haven't looked at it yet. Sorry, I haven't had a chance to have a look at your videos as yet. I saw one come up on LinkedIn, but no, I didn't have a chance.
So I actually took more than 500 plus interviews of people from different parts of the world who are into different professions, who are into different age groups. And I personally, I'm a software engineer. I did masters in software engineering, and
Okay, so
yeah, recently I took training in AWS
oh,
solution
excellent.
architect position.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah,
is that what sort of work you're doing at the moment?
right now I got trained. Now I have to look for work. I have to apply for cloud engineer position. So I understand EC2, the databases, so the fundamental and the basic services of
Yeah,
AWS cloud.
yeah.
So I
And where
want
are
to
you
work
based,
in.
Si?
I'm in India, South India. It is a
Yeah,
city called Hyderabad.
I think I've heard of that. Yeah,
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 I'm from
yeah.
Hyderabad.
So many cities in India.
Yeah. So this is one of the major city which has more IT.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So is that so Hyderabad, Mumbai,
Yeah.
and Delhi are the
Yeah. Mumbai, Delhi is a North India. I'm from South
yeah,
India.
yeah, yeah. So right.
Bangalore is a neighbor
Oh
state.
yeah, Bangalore. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So because because I had a lot of people that I was working with, especially in the banking area, that came out of Bangalore in particular.
So yeah, so I thought that this experience interviewing different country people who are into different professions and also people who are into cloud, who are already experts like you, actually helps me in earning knowledge, gaining knowledge, and understand how to do things. If I work in an organization properly and give the best service to my people and to my organization, and at the same time, it also helps other people to learn from experts like you. The beginners or intermediate level people will learn. So it's like learning and giving, teaching what you are doing.
Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah,
So can
awesome.
I put this video on my YouTube channel with your permission?
Yes, absolutely.
Can I also put this video and audio clip on my podcast, website, internet, social media,
Yeah,
everywhere with your
I'm
permission?
happy for you to share it. That's fine.
Thank you, Tim. Keep going, keep doing what you love.
Thanks very much. You too. Good luck with finding your work.
Thank you, sir.
Bye bye.
Bye.